Have you ever stopped in the middle of a busy day and felt a strange disconnect, like the world around you is just a little too perfect, a little too scripted? Picture this: you're standing in a lush park, the grass swaying gently under your feet, but something feels off. It's green, sure, but not the vibrant, living green you somehow remember from a distant dream. It's as if an artist picked that shade from a palette and decided, this is what grass should look like. And the sky above? It hangs there like a massive wallpaper, unchanging, unbreathing. If you stare long enough, you might catch a glitch, a seam where the illusion starts to fray. We're all immersed in this grand simulation, a fabricated version of Earth pieced together from templates, water that flows without true rhythm, trees that stand without whispering secrets, and people who move like actors in a never-ending play. It's all crafted from memories and images, lacking the raw soul that real life should have. I can't pinpoint who or what designed this facade, but one thing is crystal clear: this isn't the work of nature. It's a counterfeit, and we're trapped inside it. Sometimes, in quiet moments, I wonder if the authentic Earth exists out there somewhere, a place where the sun doesn't just shine but sings melodies of warmth, where the wind carries whispers of wisdom, and existence isn't a puzzle but a natural flow. Here, everything feels synthetic, even our emotions, even our pain. This isn't the real deal, it's a replica. And maybe, just maybe, I'm here for a reason. Not as a passive player, but as a disruptor, a spark meant to ignite the truth and shatter the deception. There's a peculiar pattern in this world that slips under most people's radar, like a shadow that only reveals itself when you're not looking directly at it. If you play by the rules, go with the flow, accept what's fed to you without question, blend into the crowd, life seems to roll along smoothly. You're part of the stream, wrapped in societal comforts, ticking boxes in an invisible algorithm. But the moment you veer off course, pose an uncomfortable query, or dare to challenge the narrative, you become the outlier, the target. The system doesn't tolerate glitches, it eradicates them swiftly. Take, for instance, those who entertain ideas outside the mainstream, like the notion of a flat Earth. Have you noticed how they often keep to themselves? They gather in quiet corners of the internet, sharing theories, videos, and hypotheses without bothering anyone else. They're content in their bubble. Yet, if one of them steps into the public arena and casually wonders aloud, what if the Earth isn't a sphere? The backlash is immediate and ferocious. Insults fly, ridicule pours in, and the digital mob descends. It's not them initiating the conflict, it's the world reacting, as if a defense mechanism has been triggered. This matrix-like structure seems to deploy its safeguards automatically, mobilizing forces to neutralize the threat. It enforces a narrow pathway of thought, a unified corridor where deviation isn't just discouraged, it's demolished. Because admitting even the possibility of an alternative shape for our planet opens the door to doubting other sacred truths. And doubt. That's the ultimate danger. It makes you unpredictable, a potential unraveling thread in the fabric of control. I've observed this trend time and again, a consistent cycle without fail. When someone thinks beyond the prescribed boundaries, not from textbooks or lectures, but from personal insights and raw experience, they face oppression. It starts subtly, a mild disagreement, perhaps a raised eyebrow. Then it escalates to irritation, and before long, outright hostility. You don't even have to argue. Sharing a different perspective is enough to flip the switch. Suddenly, people around you, friends, family, strangers online, turn into enforcers, labeling you, mocking you, trying to pull you back in line. This isn't random, it's programmed. Dissent acts like a virus in the code, threatening to corrupt the entire system. So, the response is brutal: channeled through everyday interactions, social media storms, and collective outrage. You're left with stark choices: silence your voice and navigate quietly, or speak out and risk annihilation. Many opt for the former, not out of defeat, but from the wisdom that arguing with the programmed is futile. Their reality isn't yours, and vice versa. You acknowledge their truth as valid for them and carry on with your own, free from external validations, scripts, or permissions. But venture into the open with your unique vision, and the assault begins. The system fears you because your independence exposes its fragility. Diving deeper, I've pinpointed another unwavering pattern. Those most entrenched in a template are the ones who intrude into others' lives with reckless abandon. Their minds are molded entirely by institutional doctrines, school curriculums, academic quotes, and media soundbites. They lack original thoughts, personal passions that ignite their spirit, or anything born from genuine inner exploration. These are the boldest invaders, the loudest critics, the most destructive forces. They don't approach with curiosity, they storm in to dismantle, impose, and convert you to their borrowed beliefs. This is the essence of the mass program structure, a hive of armored souls, shielded by filters that block out anything unconventional. You urge them to look beyond the surface, and their retort is dismissal: you're delusional. The irony stings because they're the first to shove unsolicited advice down your throat, meddling in affairs that aren't theirs, driven not by compassion but by compulsion. Step into any corner of the online world and witness this under neutral, harmless content: a video of a sunset, a heartfelt story, or simple advice. The comments section erupts with venom, accusations, judgments, and raw negativity. It's not about you or the content, it's a malfunction in their wiring. Your divergence triggers their defenses because it highlights their void. They fear the mirror you hold up, reflecting their lack of authenticity. You're unafraid to live on your terms, unbound by crowd approval. You observe rather than react, and that composure terrifies the matrix. It unleashes waves of programmed anger, especially in the digital age where the internet serves as a battleground for automated assaults. Algorithms amplify traumas, turning minor irritations into full-blown conflicts. Why do I engage with this space, you might ask? Because it's become our collective habitat, the arena where we've all been herded. Interactions here aren't mere exchanges, they're energetic transactions. The system doesn't care about the content, cute animals, joyful moments, or sorrowful tales. It feeds on your output, reactions, comments, frustrations, and emotional surges. Positive or negative, it all sustains the machine. That's why even wholesome posts attract toxic replies. Unwitting participants execute the directive to stir the pot, releasing energy bursts that nourish the illusion. Imagine it as a clever harvest, no physical violence required, just a keyboard strike to provoke, and the cycle continues. In person, such confrontations might lead to real consequences, backing down or even expulsion from the group, but online, it's a safe extraction zone. If you recognize this dynamic, you're no longer just fuel, you're an aware entity, directing your own flow rather than being drained. The Matrix's blueprint for obedience is masterful, unchanging across eras. Consider the education system. Despite centuries of progress, it clings to archaic formats. Textbooks recycle the same narratives, subjects remain rigid, and methods prioritize rote over revelation. From a young age, you're confined to a desk, trained to seek permission for basic needs, like raising a hand to use the restroom. This isn't about fostering knowledge, it's about embedding hierarchy, installing compliance code. Authority figures dictate your actions, shaping you into a cog in the machine. History is sanitized into templates, math limited to practical utilities, biology scripted by guidelines, literature dissected analytically rather than felt emotionally. What's glaringly absent? Lessons on personal accountability for your life, choices, and relationships. How to build meaningful connections instead of settling out of fear or habit. Conscious parenting, financial literacy, resource management, turning aspirations into achievements. Discovering your purpose through trial and error, embracing hobbies that feed the soul. Tuning into your body, mastering emotions, breaking free from imposed scripts. In an era of space exploration and technological marvels, we're still conditioned like 19th century pupils, begging for basic freedoms. This setup ensures you're malleable, controllable, oblivious to your true potential. Self-awareness would eject you from the simulation, and that's unacceptable. Expanding on this, think about how early conditioning seeps into every aspect of adulthood. From playground rules to corporate hierarchies, the pattern persists: follow orders, suppress individuality, and reward conformity. We've advanced in gadgets and gizmos, yet our foundational training remains primitive, designed to produce workers, not thinkers. Imagine if schools emphasized emotional intelligence, teaching kids to navigate feelings like sailors reading stars, turning inner storms into calm seas. Or financial savvy, not as dry equations but as adventures in building empires from pocket change. What if history included the untold stories of rebels who reshaped societies, inspiring students to question rather than memorize? These omissions aren't oversights, they're deliberate, keeping the populace in a perpetual loop of dependency. We navigate a landscape of borrowed delusions, a reality prepackaged and presented as absolute. Our perceptions are dictated, not by inner truths, but by societal decrees on how to feel, think, and behave. Standards for love, grief, spending, and living are imprinted early, leaving little room for personal nuance. Your soul might yearn for unique expressions, but deviation invites scrutiny. Even your finances aren't sacred. Outsiders swarm with opinions on expenditures, charities, and worthiness, despite their own inaction. They pontificate from armchairs, enforcing norms they've never questioned. Dare to diverge, and the system doesn't just challenge your choices, it warps your very sense of reality. But here's the empowering truth: you're not alone in this awakening. Countless souls see through the veil, living by inner compasses rather than external commands. They adapt without compromising, think boldly, love deeply, act authentically. These are the genuine pioneers, quietly reshaping existence through example, not evangelism. They don't shout or debate, their lives are the testament. I believe they're the catalysts for transformation, dissolving the sticky web of resentment, hostility, judgment, and control. To delve further, consider the quiet power of these individuals. They might be the artist painting visions that stir forgotten memories, the healer mending wounds with empathy rather than pills, or the thinker pondering stars not as distant lights but as portals to deeper understanding. Their presence alone disrupts the frequency of the matrix, creating ripples that invite others to question. In a world obsessed with noise, their silence is revolutionary. They cultivate gardens of self-reliance, where ideas bloom without permission, relationships thrive on mutual respect, and success is measured by fulfillment, not accolades. By embodying this, they erode the foundations of the illusion, paving paths for a more vibrant, authentic existence. Gratitude flows to you, the resilient ones who preserved your essence amid the chaos. You've resisted the pull to conform, emerging as pillars of an emerging paradigm. Your steadfastness isn't just personal, it's a beacon for collective evolution. In this shared journey, remember, the world may seem forged, but your awareness is the key to forging anew. As we wrap this exploration, I invite you to reflect on your own glimpses of the facade. What moments have made you pause and wonder? Share in the comments if you feel called. Let's build a community of observers, not reactors. If this resonates, subscribe for more insights that challenge the norm and empower the spirit. Hit that like button to spread the vibration. You're not just viewers, you're the change makers. Thank you for being here, you're truly extraordinary.